Hi, it's Ben here from T-Rex Space Station. How's everyone doing? This is going to be a video response to channel Swifts. Swifto asked the relatively interesting question: what is the future for our YouTube videos? You know, in 100 years time, will anyone actually be watching what we've made here? Will our videos still be around? Will YouTube still exist? Will any of the things that we're doing now still be relevant and accessed by people and watched by people? It's quite an interesting question because obviously as retro video game fans we spend a lot of our time looking backwards into the past. But it is often pretty interesting to sort of think about the future, think about how things will evolve in terms of YouTube and video sharing sites, media sharing websites. I mean, even in the short amount of time that I've been involved in YouTube, we've seen plenty of changes with it. You know, things like the Google Plus integration and YouTube being owned by Google now. And I suppose it's not inconceivable to think that changes will continue to happen into the future, and who knows what will happen with YouTube. It's unlikely that it will stay exactly the same in its present state. Maybe there will be future buyouts, maybe there'll be changing of hands, or maybe you know, it's possible that YouTube as an entity may cease to exist. But I don't think that video sharing websites will cease to exist, and I think that YouTube in some guise or other, whether it's under a different name, will still be a thing even 100 years in the future. You know, this is our way of sharing media now. This is what we do. This is where we get our information from. Video sharing is such a prevalent thing and such a sort of mainstream way to gather and record and share information. I think this will always be there in some guise or another. You know, there's a lot of new websites and things competing now, not just for videos but for music. You know, you've got Kanye West's Tidal service, which I presume nobody bloody uses, and all sorts of different things that are competing. Most of them are just about different ways of integrating social interaction functions, but they all still based around the similar premises of sharing music or videos. And sharing music, videos, spoken word, whatever, is always going to be a thing. And so for that reason, I think that what we're doing now will be relevant for people in the future looking back. You know, one of the difficult things for us is, you know, as for historians and things, is trying to uncover information from the past. Information that was often not kept in an accessible way. You know, kept on books and things that can be damaged or eroded, or things that were lost in wars or fires or, you know, environmental damage. We're really the first generation that's been able to record our lives in such fantastic detail on digital media in a way that no one else in history has ever managed to do before. And this is undoubtedly going to be a wealth of information, a treasure trove stored up for people in the future to look back on and to use. You know, never before has human life, the human experience, been so well documented and so well kept. And we're doing our part as the retro video game community to keep old systems and old memories alive and accessible, and preserving those things in a way that people haven't been able to do before. Now, of course, there is the element of data and things still being, you know, it's not permanent, it's still losable, it's still damageable. One of my big pet hates and one of the stupid things that I always do is fail to back up my stuff properly. And so, like recently when I had to reinstall Windows and reboot my computer and set everything up, I lose so much data all the time, lose lots of old videos, lots of documents, lots of things that I've made. And that's always really upsetting because there's no way to get it back once it's gone, really. But even me, you know, all of my terrible lack of planning, even I'm starting to now back stuff up. You know, with things like Dropbox or cloud services, it's easier than ever to actually preserve your data. And I've now got a hard drive, you know, to use to sort of store things up and back up my data. So I think that as long as you're sensible with your data, there's no reason why it should suddenly disappear or degrade or go anywhere. Of course, you know, online data is vulnerable because you're completely at the mercy of the person who's saved it, who's operated it, who's running the servers. And I very much doubt, well, if YouTube went down, maybe there would be a grace period where you could try to capture your own videos back and save them again. But I have a feeling if something was to happen to YouTube or to, you know, our media sharing servers or services, we would end up losing a lot of data, which would be a shame. But I think that, you know, YouTube has a responsibility to protect our information and our data, and that if there was some plans for a change of ownership or shutting down of the site, we'd need to be told so that we could take action and maybe rip our own videos or save stuff that we'd done, or be given a way of downloading things. You know, I remember when MySpace, that old website, went down, we were all given the option of saving our information, saving our blogs and photos and things as a zip file in an archive. And I think that that's the bare minimum that has to be done if the service was to start to change or to you know, wind down. I think it's very interesting actually that, talking about the transience and the aging of some of the systems that we're using, things like tape-based video games, they have a limited shelf life, a limited lifespan. And some of the old systems, really old ones from the 70s and 80s, are going to start dying out and become increasingly more rare. I was given a ZX Spectrum recently that was in very good condition, but still didn't work because even after being looked after and kept in good condition, simply through the effect of time, the keyboard degraded and I think the keyboard membrane's damaged. Things will start to fail as time goes on, and tapes are notoriously a bad way of storing data over time because the data just gets lost, it's just degraded. And so increasingly we're going to be relying on this documentation, these videos, these websites, these blogs, showing this stuff off because it won't be around forever. I think that's the important part, that we have to play as a retro community, showing off rare systems that we have while they're still about, before they become extinct or before they become increasingly rare and difficult for people to access. And this will be an important depository of information for people in the future to look back and see a ZX Spectrum being played, or someone doing a gameplay footage or a commentary or cracking jokes over it. I think that this stuff will remain relevant and will remain valuable way ahead into the future, providing that it doesn't all get lost in some kind of crazy media shutdown and all our data gets deleted. But I don't think that will happen. And to be honest with you, I think that people, Let's Plays and the video game community is such a big community that I don't think people will stop. Even if the slate was completely wiped clean and all the videos made to date were erased, we would still keep going, and I'm pretty sure that the baton will be passed on. The community is just that dynamic and organic that it will just keep going, and I think that there is a future for our videos. I think that people will still be watching these in 50, 100 years time because they won't be able to play those systems for themselves. And I think that there's always going to be a place for, if not YouTube, something similar to it where videos and content and things will be shared. It's amazing to think that pretty much now people born of this generation, this current generation, their entire lives will be documented on social media. A little bit scary that Facebook may have their birth photos all the way through to maybe when they're elderly or when they die. Crazy to think how much information is now being captured about our lives. And it's funny actually thinking about all the stuff that we've made as YouTubers. I probably don't even watch all my own videos, all my old videos anyway. There's loads of superfluous information that nobody bothers with. It's like, will anyone be watching my stuff in 100 years time? Well, I don't know, because I actually don't bother to watch my own stuff either. But no, saying that, sometimes it is nice just to even flick back on your old videos, the ones that you did when you were starting, and think, oh, that's how things were back then. Haven't I come along a long way? And I suppose that's always going to be a thing that we do, even if not amongst our own videos, but to other people's, and to see that evolution of channels and of, YouTube and the gaming community as a whole. So yeah, that's my 2 pence. It's a really good question asked by Channel Swifts. I will put a link to his original video in the comments in the section below. Okay, I'd like to hear your thoughts on this, guys, so please leave a comment or a video response. Take care, and I'll speak to you all soon. Bye.